The Black Friday BOGO sale is here at All Family Pharmacy, and let me tell you, this is the kind of deal that actually matters. From November 24th through December 2nd, when you buy one ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, or menbendazole, you get another one absolutely free. So at a time when Americans are tired of being lectured and restricted by bureaucrats, this is your chance to be prepared on your terms. No politics, no gatekeepers, just real options that put you in control. Here's how simple it is. Go to allfamilypharmacy.com/stone. Place your order online and a licensed physician reviews it immediately. Once approved, your medication ships straight to your door, fast, private, and secure. This Black Friday event lasts only 1 week and supplies are limited. So when the inventory is gone, that's it. No extensions, no second chances. Just like every other real deal worth talking about seriously. If you want to stay ready, stay protected, and stay independent, go to allfamilypharmacy.com/stone before December 2nd and lock in your Black Friday BOGO deal. Take control of your health. Stay prepared and stay free.
Running a business comes with a lot of what-ifs. But luckily, there's a simple answer to them. Shopify. It's the commerce platform behind millions of businesses, including Thrive Cosmetics and Momofuku. And it'll help you with everything you need. From website design and marketing to boosting sales and expanding operations, Shopify can get the job done and make your dream a reality. Turn those what-ifs into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
The Roger Stone Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Welcome back to the Roger Stone Show. In an almost 50-year career in the political arena, I have had the privilege to work for 3 American presidents, scores of U.S. senators, governors, members of Congress, and others. But I have never known any finer patriotic American, no finer leader, no finer geopolitical thinker, and no more brilliant military and geopolitical strategist than my good friend, General Michael Flynn. 3-star General Mike Flynn served our country for more than 33 years in the U.S. military, went on to serve as the Director of Defense Intelligence, the nation's highest serving military intelligence officer, and then, of course, served as the National Security Advisor to the 45th President of the United States, Donald Trump. General Flynn and I were both persecuted in the same courtroom by the same people. We didn't actually meet each other until our fates were over, our trials were over, but I become a very close friend of not only General Flynn and every member of his family. They are all, in their own right, outstanding patriots, and it is my great honor to enter him, to welcome him today. 2 things I do want to say. His new book, Pardon of Innocence, is available. It's terrific. You can get it by going to generalflynn.com. And if you haven't seen the documentary Flynn, you absolutely must. You can see that by going to flynnmovie.com. General Flynn, thank you so much for joining us today on the Roger Stone Show.
100%, Roger, and thank you so much for such a heartfelt introduction. And I'm really looking forward to having a discussion with you and your audience today. It's a really, really important time off the heels of what should have been a great Thanksgiving and instead turned out to be a real tragedy, I think, for the country. You know, with the assassination or murder of this wonderful young West Virginia National Guardsman. I mean, and here we are all day. You know, that's all that's been talked about on the Sunday talk show circuit. You know, instead of we should be talking about great things that President Trump is doing for the country. And yet we're talking about, this tragedy. So, we're in a different place, Roger. And I know that you feel that, your audience feels that. That's why they love listening to you. And our country is in a weird spot right now. And I won't go on and on because I know you got some specific things you want to talk about. But I think everybody feels it. I've been following the news very closely the last few days, as I do every day, and getting updates from, frankly, all around the world. But anyway, I know you wanted to talk a little bit about some of the bigger strategic issues that are going on. I'll stop there.
Yeah, before we leave this topic, I just find it very strange, based on my research, Ramanullah Lakanwal, the man who's accused of shooting these 2 fine U.S. Army National Guardsmen in D.C., very clearly did work for the Central Intelligence Agency in Afghanistan, came to the United States in 2021. By law, he had 1 year to apply for asylum, but he didn't. he didn't apply and get asylum until 2024. Now, how could that be? Unless, of course, he was still working for the Central Intelligence Agency, which is what I suspect. So let's go to the big picture, and then I'm going to let you take the floor, because I watched your terrific broadcast with our friend Alex Jones, and I reposted it because I think you hit it on the head. America is headed for some very dark event, in my opinion, a color revolution, as it were. They can't and will not accept the outcome of the last presidential election. They're determined to overturn it by any means necessary. And America's in very, very dangerous position today. General, you have the floor.
Yeah. So first of all, on this gentleman, I don't know why I call him that, but Lakanwal Ramanula, on that specific person, I want your audience to know that this guy was part of an organization, part of a small unit, very specialized unit that were expertly trained on a range of capabilities. For example, many in that unit, and the units that were like them in Afghanistan that were trained by our CIA and continue to be monitored by the CIA. They're trained in our Ranger School, in our Special Forces Green Beret TAB training, our Airborne Operations Sniper School. I understand that this particular individual was also trained in enhanced interrogation techniques. I mean, this guy had some very, very specialized training. So I don't want anybody to think that this character just went off the deep end, drove 3,000 miles from the state of Washington and just randomly went up to a soldier dressed in BDUs and shot her. In this case, no, this was a very intentional hit, meant to be done the day before Thanksgiving. So we would be talking about that instead of Thanksgiving and football. So it was a very, very precisely timed. The individual is somebody who was, I would call him a sleeper cell type. There are many more like him. What you just said about being over a year on his extended visa or whatever, these guys should be continuously monitored by the CIA, and if they're not continuously monitored by the CIA then has a responsibility to turn them over to the FBI. So there's a lot of what I would call line of duty investigational stuff that has to occur, activities that have to occur before I'm satisfied. As a guy that's done many line of duties in the death of a soldier, let's say, there's got to be a lot more answers here for what we're dealing with, because is this guy, one off? And my answer to your audience is that he is not. This is not a lone wolf individual guy that just did this randomly. There are more than likely many more like him in our country. So that takes me to the next sort of bigger picture. And this is what I talked about the other day, and I stated it that like this, that we're in the midst of a very serious and very dangerous color revolution. And a color revolution is something that has a whole series of characteristics, right? It's got physical components, and this action against this targeted action against this National Guardsman is one of those physical components. But other physical components could be the derailing of a train. It could be cyber attacks, which are physical in nature, and we see those almost routinely to the point of where we've just become immune to some of these. And many of these cyber attacks are huge. And for those that want to know a lot more about cyber attacks, they can go listen to Mike Benz. Mike Benz, on about a weekly basis, is briefing the country on another cyber event that has occurred that is significant. I mean, to the point of where we are losing capabilities each time we get attacked, particularly by the Chinese Communist Party. So, and it's this whole narrative. And in the past, what used to be psychological operations, and I mean very thorough psychological operations that we ran certainly we ran them during World War II, and then they were more refined in the 1950s and 1960s. Our OSS used to be masters at psychological operations, and there's some of the people that designed some of our psyops during World War II against the Nazis and against imperialist Japan. But when we fast forward to today, this hasn't gone away, and now we refer to these things as color revolutions, right? and the different color revolutions that we've seen in places like Eastern Europe, Ukraine, Poland, Yugoslavia, and other places out in the Asia Pacific theater like the Philippines. So we've had these revolutions that have occurred, and what they have is they have similar characteristics, and some of those characteristics is rigged elections, right? Rigged elections is one of the big characteristics of any color revolution. When an entity gets in charge, like what happened in case of the United States government, one of the things that they do is they add layers of bureaucracy along with layers of non-governmental organizations. So that's a really important point, because when Donald J. Trump came into the presidency and he started to tear apart organizations like USAID, right? So USAID was an agency inside of the United States government, the executive branch of the government. And what did USAID do? What did we learn about USAID? So not only were they added to in terms of the scale of their bureaucracy, USAID then added a bunch of non-governmental organizations all over the world. And when we look back and deeply into USAID, not just under the Biden administration, but all the way back to really the 90s during the Clinton administration as well, we start to see the growth of these non-governmental organizations, and they're placed in key locations around the world: Asia, Europe, the Middle East, Africa, Eastern Europe, the Southeast Asian countries. And you find these NGOs that are there, and they are getting funding through USAID, and you say to yourself, well, what's the funding for? And when you dig in, it's funding to overthrow, in many cases, those governments, or to certainly influence those governments, supposedly for what's in the best interest of the United States of America. But what we're learning, and what people are now waking up to, and I think that's why the CIA was trending all day today on the world of social media, is because the CIA has been driving foreign policy, and I'm going to say that a little bit louder. The CIA has been driving foreign policy for many, many decades now. But what we now have learned through a whole bunch of releases of FOIA documents, evidence from the Mueller investigation, evidence from many other investigations that have taken place, that the CIA has been working hand in glove and in a very surreptitious way with, frankly, components of our FBI inside of the United States government. And they did it to undermine President Donald J. Trump's first administration. So, of course, he won in 2016, which was a shock to the world and a good thing for our country, thank God. But then they really went hard after him. And then what did they do next? Then they stole an election, the election of 2020. And more is going to come out about this stolen election. I know that President Trump has a plan to expose in a great way exactly what happened during 2020 and also 2024. So these are components about when you talk about adding these layers of bureaucracy, adding these layers of non-governmental organizations that then in many cases come back and bite us in the rear end. Another big chunk of this is this to either start or extend wars or conflicts around the world, right? So, Ukraine. Now, Trump's working really hard to stop, to come to some sort of long-term peace agreement here in Eastern Europe. But this Eastern European war between Russia and Ukraine, this is just an extension of efforts that are going on directed really against the United States of America. You say, well, how can that be? That the war's over there. Well, the war is costing us. It has cost the United States of America not only global prestige, but it's also cost us over $500 billion with a B dollars in the last number of years. And we know with some of the recent current developments with Yermak, who's the chief of staff to Zelensky, having his place was raided the other day. We know this. I mean, I know this. So I'm telling your audience personally right now because in another part of my life, we have a civil case right now, whistleblower case that's been filed. It's a $42 billion whistleblower case. So we're trying to recover that money, which was absconded from U.S. taxpayers through USAID into non-governmental organizations over into Eastern Europe. And then much of that money found its way to different parts of Europe and also back here into the United States. So it's that part is really ugly, but that's an extension of how a color revolution is put into play. It's this continuation, or this, in some cases, beginning a new conflict around the world. So we have these other, we can go back to Afghanistan, go back to Iraq. We can go back to many, many examples. Vietnam is another classic example of one that happened before we really started talking about color revolutions. We were talking about psychological operations or false flags, right? We use the term false flags. So those are other aspects. Another key component here of a color revolution is to drain or certainly rob the coffers of the U.S. Treasury. And that's what's been happening. So the left in our country, in some collusion with members of the right, and Crystal is one of them. You know him. I mean, yes. I don't know him well, but I watch him enough and listen to him enough. But you have a hard neocon right that loves a war, loves these conflicts, and they just love to continue to spend more of our hard-earned dollars. Well, the left looks at our U.S. Treasury as their U.S. Treasury, and what they want to do is they want to get more of that money out of our Treasury, out of taxpayers, to put into their own pockets. And they've been doing that for years to the tune of trillions of dollars. So,
General Flynn, we're going to have to take a quick break here. When we come back, I have my doubts as to whether there are going to be any prosecutions in the Russian collusion hoax that upended your life, my life, the life of President Donald Trump and others. We'll talk about that when we get back. Whatever you do, folks, don't go away. We'll be right back with General Michael Flynn right here on The Roger Stone Show. The Black Friday BOGO sale is here at All Family Pharmacy, and let me tell you, this is the kind of deal that actually matters. From November 24th through December 2nd, when you buy one ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, or menbendazole, you get another one absolutely free. So at a time when Americans are tired of being lectured and restricted by bureaucrats, this is your chance to be prepared on your terms. No politics, no gatekeepers, just real options that put you in control. Here's how simple it is. Go to allfamilypharmacy.com/stone. Place your order online, and a licensed physician reviews it immediately. Once approved, your medication ships straight to your door, fast, private, and secure. This Black Friday event lasts only 1 week, and supplies are limited. So when the inventory is gone, that's it. No extensions, no second chances. Just like every other real deal worth talking about seriously. If you want to stay ready, stay protected, and stay independent, go to allfamilypharmacy.com/stone before December 2nd and lock in your Black Friday BOGO deal. Take control of your health. Stay prepared and stay free.
Introducing Meta Ray-Ban Display, the world's most advanced AI glasses. With a full color display built into the lens of the glasses, it's there when you need it and gone when you don't. Send and receive messages, translate or caption live conversations, collaborate with Meta AI, and more. Be one of the first to try Meta Ray-Ban Display. Visit meta.com/Meta Ray-Ban Display to book a demo and find your pair.
Everyone wants the Emirates NBA Cup.
And things are heating up.
30 teams started. Bang! But only 8 have advanced to the single elimination knockout rounds. To survive, they'll have to be hungry, relentless, ruthless.
Are you kidding me?
They all want the cup, but only one team can claim it. Who will capture the cup? Emirates NBA Cup knockout rounds begin December 9th on Prime.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. Jay Kelly, the new film from Academy Award nominee Noah Baumbach. George Clooney stars as an actor confronting his past and present on a journey of self-discovery, alongside Adam Sandler as his devoted manager. Critics are calling it a declaration of love to the chaotic art of filmmaking, with the Wall Street Journal praising it as a transcendent comedy drama. Watch Jay Kelly December 5th, only on Netflix.
And we return to our interview with General Michael Flynn, a man who I'm convinced his greatest public service lies yet ahead. General Flynn, I have a concern that those who enacted the greatest single dirty trick, the greatest single abuse of power in American history, the Russian collusion hoax, will not be punished by our Justice Department, and that will be a disincentive for those who support the America First agenda to turn out for this vitally important midterm election. But I want you to finish telling us about the about the plans that we both believe are afoot for a color revolution, a violent uprising in this country, and more importantly, what the American people can do about it.
Yeah, 100%, Roger, and thank you for having me. Yeah, so just again, what is a color revolution? It's a very sneaky, insidious overthrow, of an elected government. That's kind of the basic definition, and that is what's happening here inside of our country. And they tried to do it while Trump was in office the first time. They obviously did it in 2020, and they put in, what amounted to a person who was essentially incapable of being president, in this case Biden, and now they're continuing to do it. It is not stopping. And you're right. I am very, very concerned because we're not seeing the momentum that we need, particularly with the scale of the conspiracy that happened during the 2016, 2017 timeframe with Donald Trump, the conspiracy by Barack Obama, where he committed treason along with others. I mean, this is stated by our Director of National Intelligence, the great Tulsi Gabbard, and President of the United States. So we're already 9.5 months into this administration, and we have not seen really anything. I mean, the indictment and the dismissal of the Comey case is not a good sign of things to come when it comes to Russiagate. So, yeah, I'm very concerned. So everything that we're talking about, though, these days, all are elements of what this thing is, and this is a revolution ongoing in our country. There's Victor Davis Hanson is another friend who talks about a counter-revolution. That's what the MAGA movement is. And really, what I'm concerned about as we go into the 2026 election, and you remember Ronald Reagan, Ronald Reagan said, we're one generation away from losing our freedom. Well, we're not one generation anymore. We are that generation. We're actually one election away from losing everything. If the left gets back in charge, I don't use words like Democrat anymore because they're not the Democrat Party of old, right? This is a left-leaning socialist communist party that now exists, and that's the part of what I call the axis of resistance. It's communism, Islamism. It's they're in cahoots with criminal and terrorist networks. So this is what we are facing if we don't continue to stay strong and stay engaged and push President Trump and his team to do more. I got that. But how do we defeat this, right? What is it that, I get this question all the time, as I'm sure you do. What can I do? So now I'm speaking to every member of the audience. What is it that I can do? The best way to defeat something like this is at the local level. And many people have heard me use the phrase local action equals a national impact. First thing that we have to remember is that we pledge allegiance to a republic. We don't pledge allegiance to a democracy, right? I pledge allegiance to the republic, right? And that's what we have to remember what we are, because you're going to hear people say that Trump is a danger to democracy. Well, we're not a democracy. We are a republic. The second thing is we really strategically have to guard our freedom from this growing darkness. So how do we fight back? We don't want to rely on one man, folks. Donald Trump is doing everything that he can. I know that he's pushing his administration to do everything that they can. And I think we're going to see in the next couple of days here, Trump is going to be making some decisions about things that he needs to do. We've seen some of the most historic things that he's put out on social media in the last 3 or 4 days, which are stunning to me, but they're moving in the right direction. And this is not a one-way fight. This is a two-sided fight. So we've got to get out there in our local communities and fight back. This is up to the shopkeepers, the truck drivers, parents, students. Time to step up, stand up, speak up, get involved in local rallies, become activists on your own in communities.
All right, I'm afraid we have to leave it there. I want to thank our guest, General Michael Flynn, and thank you for joining us today on The Roger Stone Show.
Thanks for listening to The Roger Stone Show. You can hear The Roger Stone Show Sunday afternoons at 3. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder,
what the heck is going on here?
The Black Friday BOGO sale is here at All Family Pharmacy. And let me tell you, this is the kind of deal that actually matters. From November 24th through December 2nd, when you buy one ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, or menbendazole, you get another one absolutely free. So at a time when Americans are tired of being lectured and restricted by bureaucrats, this is your chance to be prepared on your terms. No politics, no gatekeepers. Just real options that put you in control. Here's how simple it is. Go to allfamilypharmacy.com/stone. Place your order online and a licensed physician reviews it immediately. Once approved, your medication ships straight to your door. Fast, private, and secure. This Black Friday event lasts only 1 week and supplies are limited. So when the inventory is gone, that's it. No extensions, no second chances. Just like every other real deal worth talking about seriously. If you want to stay ready, stay protected, and stay independent, go to allfamilypharmacy.com/stone before December 2nd and lock in your Black Friday BOGO deal. Take control of your health. Stay prepared and stay free.